Hello, and welcome to today's episode of Citizenship Exam Study Group. This is the second session in the series, and today we are going to go over the website for the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services. Here we're going to investigate the various parts of the website so that you can know where to go to pick up forms, where to find study resources, and where to mail items and to keep track of your record. So if you have a computer, go ahead and visit this website, www.uscis.gov, or if you don't, just follow along and we will explore these pages together. Vamos a visitar el sitio web de USCIS y juntos vamos a investigar la página. We have just arrived at the U.S. Citizen and Immigration Services website. This is the official website for finding the forms that you need to apply for citizenship. There are also forms here that you put in at various times throughout your application process, and this is also where you go to find out what fees you might have to pay. So first we want to look at a few things to make sure that we understand what this website is. One of the things that you want to notice is that the web address at the very top does say .gov. That'll ensure that you are actually on the official government website and that you did not accidentally land on somebody else's page. After you have made sure that it is a USCIS website, an official government website, go ahead and let's take a look at a few things that we'll notice here. First of all, you'll notice that across the top there are several different tabs. The first tab you'll see is for forms. And you'll see that there are different types of forms depending on what you need to look for. We are going to look at the N400 Apply for Citizenship. On this page, you'll see that not only do you find the application for the N400, but you'll also be able to find the instructions that'll help you complete this form. The other thing that you'll find that is super helpful is the document checklist. It makes sure that it gives you an opportunity to double check that you have all the necessary documents, the verification, the fees, and it just puts it all in a very easy place for you to find. And it also has information about the naturalization requirements page. All of these are going to be forms that you can download onto your computer and print. If you do not have a printer available, you can contact the library at 936-559-2970 and we might be able to make arrangements to print one or two copies of items that you know for sure what you need. The library continues to be closed to the public. However, we do offer some services on an appointment basis, such as picking up a printout. Aquí en la página donde se encuentra la aplicación N400, vamos a ver que hay muchas cosas que tiene este sitio web. Por primero, aquí puede uno descargar la forma N400 a su computadora y luego para imprimir. También puede descargar las instrucciones y también pueden encargar la lista de documentos que se necesita. Y también esa misma lista tiene cuánto va a costar todo y te da una idea que cuando necesita uno entregar las aplicaciones y los pagos, y así puede tener en cuenta cada vez que manda algo ya sabe dónde va usted en el proceso. Las formas y las instrucciones, todo que se encuentra en el sitio web de USCIS se puede imprimir, y para imprimir, de descargarlo del internet es gratis. Si no tiene una impresora o no tiene computadora, le puede llamar a Mercedes Franks ahí en la biblioteca, y si usted sabe qué es la forma que necesita, hay posibilidad de hacer una cita con Mercedes a poder recoger esas formas o instrucciones. La biblioteca sigue cerrada al público, pero hay oportunidad de hacer una cita y si usted sabe lo que necesite que imprime, yo lo puedo imprimir y luego usted nomás lo viene a recoger. El uso de computadoras todavía no es disponible al público, pero sí podemos arreglar cómo puede recoger los documentos. As we mentioned earlier, the N400, which is your application for naturalization, is the form that can be downloaded from your computer and then printed. This form is very important because this is the form we mentioned last week that on which the speaking portion of your citizenship interview and exam will be based. So you will want to make sure that you keep a copy for yourself whenever you send this form, whether it's online or you mail it in. Make sure you keep a copy along with your answers. Make sure that you read the questions very thoroughly and that you know how you would respond to them. It's a good idea to have somebody help you with this, so you can have a friend or family member read the questions and you can pretend that you're being interviewed. And it's recommended that you answer them out of order. That way you don't get used to what comes after what, and when you get to your exam, you'll be more comfortable and ready to answer any questions. La aplicación N400 es importante porque esa es la primera aplicación que usted entrega cuando quiere comenzar el proceso de ciudadanía. De aquí van a venir las preguntas que te hacen en la entrevista y en el examen, que vienen siendo the speaking portion. Entonces, cuando usted complete su aplicación, haga una copia para que usted, cuando la manda, usted se queda con una copia y usted usa esta aplicación y las respuestas que usted puso para practicar cómo contestar en inglés lo que te van a hacer para la entrevista. Es recomendado que si tiene unas personas que le pueden ayudar, que te practiquen preguntando estas preguntas, usted las contesta y trata de hacerlas no en orden, así usted no se acostumbra de que una viene después de otra y cuando va a su entrevista está esperando eso y quizás no será igual. Entonces, conozca esta aplicación muy bien para que cuando usted vaya a su entrevista, usted tiene la confianza necesaria para tener éxito. Y si lo más lo practica, lo más fácil el speaking portion del examen va a ser. También usted se va a dar cuenta qué preguntas o palabras no entiende y ahora es el tiempo para practicar y también para practicar la pronunciación si es que usted tiene dudas en su pronunciación. Now what we're going to do is we're going to look at the N400 a little bit more closely. As you recall, I mentioned that the N400 is the place where the questions for the speaking portion of your interview come from. So it's a good idea to get very familiar with this form. What we're going to do in just a few moments is I'm going to practice saying some of these questions to you. I'm going to pause and give you an opportunity to answer the question. So this is going to be an opportunity for you to practice your pronunciation. And it'll also be an opportunity for you to just listen to some of the words that are going to be at your interview. We'll get started. First of all, are you at least 18 years of age? Are you applying on the basis of qualifying military service? Have you been a lawful permanent resident of the United States for at least 5 years? Part 2, information about you. What is your current legal name? What is your last name or your family's name? And last, what is your given name or your first name? So now we're going to go over some good phrases to know for your interview. The first, can you rephrase the question, please? As you recall just a couple minutes ago, we mentioned that if you are unsure, if you didn't understand a question, you have the right to ask of the person interviewing you to say, can you rephrase the question, please? And so this will mean that they will have to ask you the question again in a slightly different manner. So again, can you rephrase the question, please? Your interviewer might, upon meeting you, ask you for, say, good morning or good afternoon. So be sure to reply good morning or good afternoon in response. It's always a good idea to say, pleased to meet you. A common question or a greeting, maybe your interviewer will ask, how are you today? To which an appropriate response would be, fine, thank you. How are you? So throughout this series, we'll repeat these questions or these phrases so that you commit these to memory. But these are good questions or phrases to know, and we'll be doing these and a few others as we go along. So now we're going to ask a few more questions on the N400. The USCIS website has lots of information for potential naturalization applicants. First, we recently looked at the section under forms, and as we mentioned, this is where you find the N400 as well as other forms that you're going to need. You'll also be able to find out how much you have to pay for certain applications, and there'll be other information that you can find. The second thing that we're going to look at, though, is we're going to look at this tab under Citizenship. One of the things that I recently discovered under Citizenship is if we go over to the naturalization test, you go there and you will find some basic questions and answers for the naturalization test. But there's also a section over here called video. And under this video, you will be able to basically have the naturalization process explained to you. Once you go through that, another thing that is helpful as you get closer to taking your exam is a USCIS naturalization interview. This one is particularly helpful to watch maybe a few weeks before you actually go to take your exam or your interview, because you will be able to see not just what the questions are going to be, but you will actually be walked through in this video every step from when you first greet the interviewer to the exam and the actual interview. And so this is a really good resource that I recommend watching before you get started too much into the naturalization process, just so that you know what to expect. Next, we're going to study the frequently asked questions about the civics exam. Many people ask, how many questions do they have to study? Well, there are 100 possible questions that you have to study that are provided on the flashcards. However, the good news is that of these 100 questions, when you get to your exam, you will actually only be asked 10 questions. However, you don't know which questions they are, so it's important that you study all of them. But at your exam, you'll be given 10 questions. As soon as you get 6 correct answers, your interviewer will stop the exam, congratulate you, and let you know that you have completed that portion of the exam. So again, you will have a possibility of 10 questions at your exam, but as soon as you get the first 6 correct, then your exam will be over. The second question people want to know is age requirements. If you are 65 years of age and meet these other requirements that are on the screen, you only have to study the questions that have the asterisk on the flashcard. You will be responsible just for those questions. As we go through the flashcards, I'll point those out to you. And additional question most people ask is, do they have to take the exam in English? Well, the third criteria here shows us that if you meet the criteria of age and time spent in the United States, you might be eligible to take your exam in your native language. Again, refer to the USCIS website to be sure of any changes that might apply to you. Next, we will begin our flashcard question and answer. Ahora vamos a estudiar una de las preguntas que mucha gente tiene sobre el examen del civismo. Primero, mucha gente quiere saber cuántas preguntas hay. Bueno, nosotros tenemos 100 preguntas en las tarjetas que vamos a estudiar en este tiempo. Es posibilidad de esas 100 preguntas. Pero cuando usted va a su examen, solamente va a recibir 10 preguntas. Y de esas 10 preguntas, al pronto que usted conteste 6 correctas, entonces ya su examen termina. Entonces, aunque nomás vas a recibir 10 preguntas en el examen, es importante conocer todas las preguntas y las posibilidades. También la gente ha escuchado que hay posibilidad de tomar el examen en su propia idioma. Si tiene usted más de 65 años y complete otros requisitos, entonces es posible que usted podrá tomar su examen en su idioma nativa. También hay posibilidad que usted solamente si tiene 75 o más, nomás necesita estudiar las preguntas con el arístico. Nosotros vamos a tomar todas las preguntas y si es una pregunta que es solamente para las personas más de 65 años, yo les voy a decir. Pero siempre es importante que aunque nosotros hemos repasado estas preguntas, que usted visite el sitio web del USCIS en caso que haya haber cambios en los requisitos del USCIS para el examen. We're going to take these 100 questions, we're going to do them out of order, and what I'll do is I'll keep track each week of the questions that we have asked. And so we'll spend the first few minutes reviewing the questions from the previous week, and then we will at one point continue with a new set of questions. So again, these will be out of order because you don't know which questions you're going to get, and you don't know what the order is that you're going to get them. So I want to make sure that you are prepared to ask these questions. Now I'm going to put my glasses on so I can actually read the question. Okay, so question 1. What is the supreme law of the land? What is the supreme law of the land? And the answer is the Constitution. Okay. So the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. Question number 87. Name one American Indian tribe in the United States. There are a possibility of, I believe, 18, but you just need to know one. So name one American Indian tribe in the United States. All right, we'll just read off a few of these since it's so many. Cherokee, Navajo, Sioux, Chippewa, Choctaw, Pueblo, Apache, Iroquois, Creek, Blackfeet, Seminole, Cheyenne, Arawak, Shawnee, Mohegan, Huron, Oneida, Lakota, Crow, Teton, Hopi, and Inuit. Okay, so you just need to know one of those to be able to answer this question correctly, which is name one American Indian tribe in the United States. Okay. Our next question is question 88. Name one of the two longest rivers in the United States. Again, name one of the two longest rivers in the United States. Okay, so there are two possibilities, you just need to know one of them. All right, the answers: the Missouri River, and the Mississippi River. Okay. So the Missouri River and the Mississippi River are the two longest rivers in the United States, but you only need to know one of them for your exam. Okay, so that was question 88 if you are keeping track. And question 87 was the one about the Native American tribes. And then question 1 is the supreme law of the land. We'll do 2 more. Question 89. What ocean is on the west coast of the United States? What ocean is on the west coast of the United States? All right, the Pacific Ocean. Okay, so that goes along the coast, California. Okay, and just as a bonus, what is the ocean on the east coast of the United States? That'll actually be a question later. Okay, it's going to be the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, so that was question 89. What ocean is on the west coast of the United States? And that answer is Pacific Ocean. Okay. And we will do one more for right now. Question 37. What does the judicial branch do? What does the judicial branch do? There are 4 possibilities. Let's go ahead and read those off. The judicial branch reviews laws, explains laws, resolves disputes or disagreements, decides if a law goes against the Constitution. Okay, so question 37, what does the judicial branch do? It reviews laws, explains laws, resolves disputes, decides if a law goes against the Constitution. Okay. So for today, again, we reviewed question 37, question 89, question 1, and question 87, as well as 88. So next week we will do a few more of these. And we'll first review these, and then we'll add an additional few questions to ask. Okay. And again, you can request these from the USCIS. You can get your own flashcards, or you can download the flashcards, or you can come to the library and check out your flashcards to check out for 4 weeks. Thank you so much. We're going to continue with our next part. We're going to conclude today's lesson with just a quick look at the USCIS app that you can get on any mobile device, whether it's your smartphone or your tablet. It's a free app. You just go to your app store, download it. It has all the questions from the civics portion of the exam. So anytime you find yourself with some downtime, be sure to use that time to study for your exam. And until next time, we will see each other next week. Thank you.